Team, welcome back to the Heroic Performance YouTube channel. My name is Joshua Hagen. I'm the owner of Heroic Performance. The year is coming to an end. It's almost the end of December 2023. I wanted to take this video to have a chance to help you build the best 2024 for yourself. Our goal is always to be the best version of yourself, and I teach that to my team and my clients. So that's what I'm here to do today with you. Help you be the best version of yourself in 2024. I wanted to give you my steps to success, my what I would consider, biggest bang for your buck, 6 steps to success, so to speak. And I want you to understand that these should be done a little bit in sequential order, and I want them to really hit home. I want them to be something that brings a little bit of fear into your life, makes you worried about whether or not it'll be accomplished, whether or not you can or can't do it. I want it to be something that challenges you. Most of the time, what I see in our people is we lose this sense of dream, the ability to achieve, and the lack of faith in our own persona. I started as a trainer, and I only dealt with the physical prowess. Someone believes they can't squat 300 pounds. You have a coach standing there saying, hey, you can do this. Let's do 305. The person is scared. They squat the weight. Oh my God, I believe I can do it. Well, all of a sudden that bleeds into the rest of our life. And the more I've done this, the more I've become more of a life coach. I've become this wellness instructor, and I help people in every aspect of their life. We need to take that knowledge and not only be reactive to things that happen in our life, but I believe we need to be proactive. So first things first is I don't believe in New Year's resolutions or short-term little bursts. My goal here is to make 2024 at least 10% better. Whether that's business, whether that's personal, whether that's in your family life, whatever, 10% better. Now, how do we do that? My second step to success is gonna be our buckets. So this is something I got from Matthew Kelly. The book is called The Rhythm of Life. It is one of the few books that I have read cover to cover countless times. If you're interested in it, I will put a link in the bio down at the bottom. The concept of the book is you have 4 buckets in your life: physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual. And everybody at different points of their life are an assortment of that bucketed system. I, as a trainer, might be very high physically, but I'm not very religious, so my spiritual bucket might be low. I'm a very intellectual person, so I love to read and I need that bucket to be filled. Emotionally, I get a lot from my clients, so I don't need that in the rest of my life. And that's just a quick snapshot if I were to throw something at you right now. You might not work out at all, and your physical bucket's a 0, but you're very spiritual. And everybody's different. I highly recommend you take a second to read the book. You're gonna be an assortment of those buckets, and you're gonna be unique to each point of your life. Depending on where you're at in life, depending on the struggles, trials, and tribulations you're going through, those buckets are gonna change, and that's the beautiful thing. My goal in this next 2024 is to make you a little bit more full in each of those buckets. So with that in mind, we move on to step 3, goal setting. Now, the goal setting needs to be something that scares you in each of those buckets. Physically, I feel I need to run a half marathon this year. Emotionally, I'm gonna try and connect with my mother because we fought. Spiritually, you might need to find inner peace. You might need to start meditation. You might need to do something in reflection inward. Each of those areas can have a goal, a large goal, that seems insurmountable. I'm gonna use a half marathon because it's the easiest one to regress backwards from. And that's what we do. I make this big goal, and then we start to take steps backwards. And that's what steps 4, 5, and 6 are. When we look at SMART, this is gonna be number 4. This stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. This is probably one of the most important features in setting up your goals. This is gonna help you narrow it down to actually make it tangible. So we look at specific. I need you to think not only I'm gonna run a half marathon, but I'm gonna run a half marathon by December 31st in San Jose, and I'm gonna run under a 10-minute mile. I have now narrowed my time window. I have narrowed the actual targeted both distance as well as time to complete, so it's a tangible thing, right? And I've given it a location, so I know exactly what's happening. There's something called Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law states that the amount of time given to complete something is the amount of time it will take. If I give 3 or 4 days, if I give until Friday to complete a task, a paper, get a project done, it will take until Friday. If I give it a year, I'm gonna procrastinate and make decisions, whether for better or for worse, that will make it take a year to complete. So The best decision makers in the world, the ones who are most effective, the ones who move the fastest and are incredible with what they do, they make decisions day in and day out. They don't give it weeks, months, years, right? So think about that. Measurable, the M, right? Measurable needs to be something that has a quantitative feedback, a distance in a time, and I know how I did, pass or fail. It's not just, I want to read more. Well, I want to read. You want to read 5 books? You want to read 20 books? That measurement, that number allows you to actually grasp something and hold on to it. And you can see if you're on track or not. You know if you need to push harder or not. Attainable. Is this something you can actually grasp and do? I want to go to the moon is not attainable, right? Attainable falls into realistic as well. But attainable falls more into, is it something I want? Do I want to go to the moon, right? Just picking something randomly doesn't actually give me fire, right? The realistic side of things, the R, is this plausible for the human I am today? I'm not going to say I'm going to run a 100-mile endurance race in 3 months. In 3 years, I might be able to train my body, my ligaments, my joints, my mind to be able to run a 100-mile endurance race. But to get to that realistic goal, right, I'm going to do a half mile by the end of this year. And that leads us into later things. But you get the idea. Attainable is the want. This lights my fire. This scares me. This challenges me. The realism of it is, can I actually do this? And is it something that I'll find success in? Because we don't want to set a goal that we're never going to achieve. And finally is timely. I want a specific timeline on what you're doing. If you're doing, a half marathon by the end of the year, that's a reasonable timeline. You can probably train for it in 6 months, even maybe 4. You play with that timeline to challenge you, but allow enough time to be completed, right? And it's going to bounce back and forth. Each goal, both or all, physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, should have a SMART concept to it. When we look at number 5, I already talked a little bit about fear, but I like to break my year into basically 4 memories and 1 thing that scares me. And this is something I've recently adopted. Each quarter, I try and do something that involves a memory. For me, a Spartan race is a memory. I run it with people I love and care about. Maybe it's my team. Maybe I'm going to do, Top Golf, and it's a really big memory that I invite everyone I know. It's small things. But if we're talking overall goals, right, overall 2024 the best we can, I want you to have some memories in your life. I want you to have things that you look back on when we're standing there New Year's Eve. Man, 2023 was XYZ. 2024 was this. You remember those big moments, right? We don't wait for life to happen. I want you to create the memories, create the life. And then this is where the fear comes in. I want you to have 1 thing each year that is fearful or scary for you to conquer. It could be talking to someone you haven't talked to in a long time. It could be going skydiving. It could be getting back into the gym for the first time in 10 years. It doesn't matter. Be real with yourself, be honest, but do something that makes you better. Find a deeper purpose and meaning in life. And that's what these goals are for, right? Finance, it might be to finally buy a house that you've been so longing to get, but you're prolonged or you're procrastinated for. I don't know. You have to find that, okay? The last but not least is rocks. This is number 6. Rocks are going to be basically your pillars. So if we look at our big goal, we're going to break it into 4 quarters. Those 4 quarters have 3 to 6 tangible things to achieve 1% better. So for instance, my half marathon is up at the top. This is the overall goal, right? Marathon. Now, from there, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. Now, of those 4 quarters, they will have 1, let's say 2 and 3, or 1 through 5. It doesn't matter how many about that, but it's a tangible number of small baby steps to get me to this goal. So by the end of Q4, I'll have come all the way back. Maybe I've got to start to strength train, right? Lift, and it's going to be a small thing. It's going to be run 1/8 of a mile every day, and it's going to be stretch once a week, 1x stretch. Well, by the time I get down to Q4, this will have become easy and part of my life. Well, now I'm going to build to Q2, Q3. Q4 might be now I'm on a completely different training regimen. I am incorporating nutrition now, right? I'm getting ready for competition. I'm racing. You can really grow. Most likely we're underestimating what we can achieve here, right? And this is going to be the hardest part for you, is just getting that ball rolling. So remember, the rocks is the breakdown of quarters, right? Every 3 months, you have up to about 6 targeted, tangible things that lead you towards this goal at the end. We overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 10. I can't thank you enough for being a part of this year as we get this up and running. And if you like this video, like and subscribe, click the button below, and I'll talk to you soon.